A Hollywood legend and his wife were found dead in their secluded home. Was it a tragic accident or something more sinister? Gene Hackman's sudden death and the mysterious circumstances surrounding Betsy Arakawa's passing have left investigators and the public alike grasping for answers. But in a stunning breakthrough, the FBI has released a statement revealing new evidence that has changed the course of the investigation. From a peculiar 911 call to unexplained deaths, this case has more questions than solutions. Could there be a darker truth lurking behind their peaceful retirement? On February 26, 2025, the bodies of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa were discovered inside their Santa Fe, New Mexico home. Hackman, an iconic actor known for unforgettable performances in The French Connection and Unforgiven, had long since retired from Hollywood, choosing a peaceful life with Arakawa, a 65-year-old classical pianist. But their final days were anything but peaceful. A routine maintenance check led to the discovery. A worker noticed the front door wide open, an eerie detail in itself. When his knocks went unanswered, he stepped inside, only to find Hackman's body in the foyer and Arakawa's in the bathroom. The scene was unsettling. Both had been dead for several days. Even stranger, one of their dogs was found lifeless inside a closet near Arakawa, while two others were still alive elsewhere in the house. At first glance, there were no signs of forced entry, no visible injuries, and nothing seemed to have been stolen. A tragic but straightforward case of an elderly couple passing away at home, or so it seemed. But as investigators dug deeper, disturbing details began to emerge. Near Arakawa's body, prescription medications were scattered across the bathroom floor, drugs for blood pressure and thyroid issues. Could this suggest an overdose, a medical crisis? However, toxicology reports later ruled out carbon monoxide poisoning. There were no leaks, no elevated gas levels in the home. Then came a crucial breakthrough. Hackman had a pacemaker, and when medical examiners analyzed his data, they found that his heart had stopped beating on February 17th, 9 days before their bodies were found. This discovery raised a chilling question. If Hackman died on the 17th, when exactly did Arakawa pass away? And that wasn't the only inconsistency. The maintenance worker who called 911 initially reported finding only one deceased person. Moments later, he corrected himself, stating there were two. Was this simply the shock of the moment, or was there something more to his changing account? As news of their deaths spread, neighbors and family members came forward with another troubling detail. No one had seen or heard from the couple in nearly 2 weeks. While they were known to value their privacy, the prolonged silence begged the question, why hadn't anyone checked on them sooner? The deeper investigators looked, the more questions surfaced, and what started as a seemingly simple tragedy was beginning to look like something far more complex and unsettling. The way their bodies were found hinted at a possible sequence of events. Gene Hackman lay in the foyer as if he had collapsed without warning. His wife, Betsy Arakawa, was discovered in the bathroom, surrounded by scattered medications, perhaps in the middle of a desperate attempt to retrieve life-saving medicine. But the strangest detail, one of their dogs was found dead inside a closet near Arakawa, while the other two survived, dehydrated but alive. Why did one perish while the others endured? Investigators and medical experts began piecing together a theory. According to Hackman's pacemaker data, his heart stopped on February 17th, suggesting a sudden cardiac event. If he collapsed unexpectedly, Arakawa may have rushed to his side, only to find him unresponsive. In a panic, she might have run to the bathroom for medication, either for him or herself. There, she may have suffered her own medical crisis, possibly a heart attack triggered by the intense stress. The scattered pills only deepened the mystery. Had she been searching for something to save her husband, or had she realized she needed help only to collapse before she could call for it? Yet, even if this theory explains their tragic deaths, it doesn't account for the dog in the closet. Some suggested it may have already been sick and instinctively sought a hidden place to pass away. Others questioned whether it had consumed something toxic, perhaps even the same thing that killed the couple. But toxicology reports ruled out any environmental lethal poisons, leaving investigators with more questions than answers. On the morning of February 26th, a maintenance worker was making his usual rounds when he stumbled upon a shocking scene. Gene Hackman and his wife unresponsive in their home. Acting quickly, he dialed emergency services, setting off the investigation that followed. Now, let's listen to the call he made to 911.
Are you with the patient now?
Yeah, I'm over at their property. There's no address here, so I have to meet the ambulance or the police, whoever, down at the gatehouse. I'll bring them up here.
Okay. How old is the patient?
I have no idea.
You don't know? Okay, that's fine. Is the patient a male or a female?
A female and a male, probably. I don't know, sir. Just send somebody up here real quick.
Okay. Are they awake?
I have no idea.
Are they breathing?
I have no idea. I'm not inside the house. It's closed. It's locked. I can't go in. But I see them. She's laying down on a floor from the window.
Okay.
Adding to the mystery, no one had seen or spoken to the couple for nearly 2 weeks before their bodies were discovered. While they valued their privacy, those close to them found the complete silence unusual. Friends stated they typically maintained at least some level of contact. As detectives combed through their medical histories, they found Hackman, at 95, had long battled heart issues and relied on a pacemaker. Arakawa, though much younger at 65, managed her own health concerns, including blood pressure and thyroid conditions. But could their deaths really be explained by medical events alone? Or was there something more lurking beneath the surface? The autopsy reports shed some light on the mystery, but left lingering questions. Gene Hackman's cause of death was officially ruled as cardiac arrest, aligning with the data from his pacemaker. However, Betsy Arakawa's autopsy was less definitive. While signs of heart disease were present, the medical examiner couldn't say with certainty whether she had died naturally or if the stress of trying to help her husband had contributed to her death. Adding another layer of uncertainty, the report noted evidence of a possible fall. News of Hackman and Arakawa's deaths sent shockwaves through Hollywood and their quiet Santa Fe community. Though Hackman had retired in 2004, his legacy endured. His Oscar-winning performances in The French Connection and Unforgiven had solidified his place in cinematic history. Arakawa, while more private, was a highly respected classical pianist. The couple, together since the early 1980s and married in 1991, had one of Hollywood's rare, lasting love stories. Despite a 30-year age gap, friends described them as inseparable, deeply devoted to each other. They had chosen Santa Fe as their peaceful retreat, never expecting their lives to end in such an unsettling and tragic way. The deep bond between Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa makes one theory particularly compelling: the idea that Arakawa may have died while desperately trying to save her husband. Yet, despite thorough investigations, lingering questions refused to fade. Authorities confirmed that the home's landline was functional and that both Hackman and Arakawa had cell phones with battery life remaining. This critical detail cast doubt on the idea that she was simply unable to summon assistance. Some speculate she may have been disoriented from stress or a possible fall. Others suggest a darker possibility. Was there an intruder? While there were no signs of forced entry or struggle, investigators have been careful not to rule anything out entirely. The investigation into their deaths remains open-ended. While many believe this was simply a tragic chain of natural events, others argue there are too many inconsistencies to accept such a straightforward conclusion. Their isolated home, the unexplained lack of communication, the maintenance workers' confusing 911 call, the survival of 2 dogs while one perished, and the unexplained gap between their deaths all contribute to a growing sense that something about this case doesn't quite make sense. Officially, their deaths remain classified as undetermined, not conclusively accidental, yet lacking enough evidence to be considered suspicious. This ambiguous classification only deepens the mystery. What is certain, however, is that Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa shared a life and a love that spanned over 4 decades. Whether Hackman's death was sudden and Arakawa was left to struggle alone, or whether something more sinister was at play, one heartbreaking truth remains. They spent their final moments in distress, their fate sealed by circumstances we may never fully understand. The tragic deaths of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa leave us with more questions than answers. Was it simply a heartbreaking series of natural events, or is there something we're missing? As investigations continue, one thing is certain: the mystery surrounding their final days will keep people searching for the truth.